What's going on, my good people out there? This is the God Pill Wisdom Show. Today, you're going to learn how to recognize and know a relationship is over. This particular episode video and slash podcast is inspired by Zay Double Edge. Shout out to Zay Double Edge. Make sure you check him out on YouTube. He did a video recently on Signs Your Girlfriend Lost Attraction for you. So we're going to put our own spin on this. We're going to put some scriptures on each one, scripture verses on each one. And me and brother Augustus is going to break it all down for you and even provide some of our own personal experiences. So sit back, relax. We'll be right back after the B roll.
Hey, what's up, people? Welcome to the God Peel Wisdom Show on the Transform You Media Network. This is the only show where you can try His wisdom. Make sure you check us out by visiting Instagram at God Peel Wisdom. That's God Peel Wisdom on IG. Enjoy the show. Hey, what's up, people? Welcome to the God Peel Wisdom Show.
Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly gentlemen, usually. Man, we got a good one, don't we, brother Augustus?
Yeah, we do, man. This one's gonna break some ice.
Yeah, so we want to shout out once again Zay Double Edge on YouTube. Make sure you check him out. He has over 5,000 subscribers, and he's doing this thing, man. The brother is really putting in a lot of effort. I love the content he bring. He's part of the Manosphere, and we always want to uplift our brothers who's out there putting in work and doing their very best. So with that said, brother, give us the slogan that pays the bills.
Yes. Welcome all to the God Pill Wisdom Show, the show where you can take God's pill for his wisdom.
Indeed. All right. So, man, when we talk about like relationships, brother, you threw it at me. You said relationships has been a big thing in today's world, and the
Yeah,
relationship is just about everything, And but without uh, the whole instruction of God and what God says what relationships supposed to be, I don't think there's no relationship. We find ourselves minus of the love, minus of all the things that creates a relationship. So that's my initial opening to that, brother. And you know, we're gonna start with like spiritual connection. The brother Zay, he talked about spiritual connection, and there's a
mm,
verse that I got for it, and I'm gonna let you respond, brother. Is John 6:44. He says, God opens your mind. And when God opens your mind, you're usually able to respond in a godly way. And one thing we see is when a relationship is declining, that's usually the first thing to go, the spirit, the soul of the relationship. So go ahead,
yeah,
brother.
yes, indeed. So it's a very big deal to look at the soul. One big issue for many today is that not too many understand what the soul is and how it operates. Now, before I get too deep, um, it's very important to understand these things. Reason why is because when someone's talking about their mind, and they know that there's issues in their mind, it's one thing to not understand how to deal with issues in the mind, to not understand how those issues got there in the first place. But
Mhm.
it's an entirely different matter to have issues in the soul. And on top of that, most people don't even know what the soul is. So, for those that don't know, the mind is the database of all thoughts, ideas, and suggestions. The soul, on the other hand, is the database of all emotion and memories. See,
Right.
that's the reason why women aren't logical, but they can remember anything that they see and or hear because they tie emotion to whatever comes into their mind and it goes right into their soul and they memorize it. See, whereas us men, we hardly remember anything, to be honest. But
Yeah.
there's pride behind that because whatever we do pay attention to, we can be very logical about it. See, so um, today it's becoming a little more opposite. That's starting to switch a little. And we're dealing with a lot of, well, see, I don't want to go too deep into that either. But I'll say this. There's much very many reasons why it's important to protect the soul.
Hmm. That's good, brother. That's good. And as you was listening, that we talk about all the time about the feelings of women. They're like the wind. You don't know which way they're gonna be blowing.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's like most times when a relationship is dragging and it's going down the toilet, uh, about 80% of the time is usually because the woman has decided to well decided based on how she feels to
Yeah.
move to start deteriorating the relationship, sabotaging the relationship. And when
Hmm.
we talk about spiritual connection, like you can sense that the spirit part of the relationship is declining, because like she becomes morally bankrupt. It's like her morals is just all gone. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like, I mean, especially if you met her like in a situation where she was for the streets, as they say. You met her in a situation like that, and you expecting this woman to stay fruitful and morally, and do what's right, and to respond in a manner that's godly, even when the situation of the relationship is being tried with these negative attacks. Whether it come from you yourself, or just outside things. But what tends to happen, most times on the most, is that woman is so morally bankrupt that it ain't no way she can connect with you in a spiritual way. And I'll give you a quick story um, of a relationship that I had, where I clearly was doing everything I was supposed to be doing in our relationship, man. I
Mm.
know I know for a fact I was, and at the time too, I was ministering. I was ministering, so like I
Mm.
had the spotlight on me in that relationship. People were looking up to me, and looking up to me and her to be the next ones to be, the first lady of the church. And then
Mm.
what ended up happening, you know, like we supposedly walking in the same direction. She's going right back to where I found her from. Going back to together. You know, um,
Mm.
she developed this because she couldn't break the habit of smoking. And it led from one thing to another. And
Right.
and then before you know it, I noticed that spiritual connection was just in there. We were just too unequally yoked. And
Mm.
we had to separate. She drugged me down spiritually. So I ended up being spiritually bankrupt because of the things she was doing. So yeah, so brother, this is clear. So we're gonna transition, to the next thing, because like normally when the spirit of relationship um, goes away, the intimacy declines. But rather,
Mm.
if you want to respond back to like that story or whatever I said, I'll let you do that.
Yeah, yeah, I could touch on that for a second. Usually, it's man, we've heard it before. Man, it's now I'm not talking about the girl that you were with, but we heard the saying, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife,
That's right.
you know. And at the end of the day, when a woman comes from a certain area, when she comes from a certain background, it's real hard for her to break from that background because A, it's a default for her, and B, that's all she knows.
Hmm.
And C, I would say this is probably more important than both previous elements, but it's the fact that she runs off of emotion.
Right.
See, so that's the killer right there. If the girl wasn't raised by or raised around proper guidance, proper godly counsel, and that doesn't just mean mother and father. Um, if she's not raised by alpha male, ancient, godly principles,
Mhm.
then she's going to run with her emotions, not with what God will want for her. See, and by her running with her emotions is never going to be based on what's right or wrong. It's never going to be based on what makes sense, because there is no sensibility, no logical sensibility. It's only what feels good and what feels good at that moment in time. And if this girl has came up with a certain kind of background, the only thing that's going to feel good to her is what she's seen, and that's the hood, that's the streets. So yeah, that's a common one today too. It's sad that it's common, but that's everyday stuff now, brother.
Yeah, it is, man. With the rise of sexual liberation and all these different options for um, birth control or lack of birth control, and then there's no
Yeah,
consequences. Like for these women that that's wild and like having these babies all over the place, and because they're getting rewarded by big daddy government, so yeah, it's terrible. And and like I said, like pivoting to this next part of this is like the intimacy. We know intimacy, the first thing we go to as man is physical intimacy, because we need it. we
right.
need we need in a relationship, we kind of expect it. We kind of expect like for it to happen, sooner
Yeah.
or later. And when you're in a marriage, it's like, okay, that's your duty, woman. So it becomes your
That's
duty.
right.
It becomes your
Yeah.
duty. And if and as man, our first sign of lack of physical intimacy, when that's starting to decline or come down, like red flags should go on your head. But most men, they become oblivious to this. They become like less obvious to what's really happening. They
Mm.
look at, oh, okay, well, maybe she's tired, maybe she's really on her period, maybe maybe there's something else going on that I'm not aware of, and then you start doing all these crazy things to try to get her to change her mind. But the truth of the matter is, either that woman has like decided to prepare bond with somebody else and become intimate with somebody else, or uh, she's planning on. So she didn't checked out. But we got to also
Yeah.
look at the other levels of intimacy. There's other forms of intimacy that like you can connect with people on, and we're looking at that one. But she already then took away the other intimacies. So the other types of
Yeah.
intimacies, you know, um, which like which if you guys subscribe or hit the notification bell, we're gonna do we're gonna do a follow up to this, and just tell you just how bad this really can get, because like this one video, you're not gonna get it all here, but we're gonna give you the bones, the structure, and the framework for it, and there's gonna be a follow up episode next week that you got to be part of. Um, so the scripture that we want to add to this one is Genesis 2:24. When when man leaves his home of the father and mother, he clings to his wife and becomes one flesh. So, brother, I'll let you go ahead and respond.
Man, um, that ties in perfectly with the point that I have here, is that a godly woman is found. See, in the beginning, God created man and woman. And when God created the woman, he created the woman to be sought after by the man, but ultimately to be found, to be pursued by the man. See,
Yeah.
so she's being found by the man. The woman is always in a position, the godly woman is always in a position to be sought after by the man.
Hmm.
But there's a flip to that coin, because the worldly woman does different. And we see that in Proverbs chapter 7. Um, I could jump to, let me see, I could jump to verse, uh, sure, I might as well start at verse 1. This is Solomon talking. He says, "My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live in my law as the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman. Verse 5, that they may keep thee from the strange woman. Um, if you guys don't know what strange woman pertains to, just listen to Cameo's song "She's Strange" and you'll get a good idea of
Yeah,
it.
that's a good one.
that that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words. She's doing the talking, she's doing the macking, she's
Hmm.
doing the pursuing. See, so a godly woman is found.
Right.
She's allowing the man to do the capping, do the pursuing, the verbal pursuing, per se.
Hmm.
But the woman of the world, the strange woman, she's the one doing the persuasion. She's the one that's out there looking for a man. See, and we hear this term "looking for a man" like it's nothing.
Yeah, like it's something you just pick up at the store somewhere, you know? Like
Yeah,
like that's how degraded and downgraded we have, been simplified as, like it's just like a utility, almost like a vehicle. It's just like, hey, I'm going to look for a man today. Okay.
yeah,
uh yeah, so but and I'm just thinking here, man, and as you was talking, it's like very obvious, like, and what really are they looking for? You know, exactly. Because like if you just looking for someone for the moment, or just looking for someone just to try to replace what you got, or because because it's better, or you don't want to put in the effort, which is what we're leading up to next, is like lack of effort. Usually people get lazy in relationships. Both men and women, but when a woman is checking out, especially a woman is checking out, like it's apparent that she's lazy. And I was saying before, there's other forms of intimacy, except besides the physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, which we covered spiritual already, and social.
yeah,
Like that social part. When she says she stopped, like, picking up the calls to, like, for dates, when she is like not talking to you, like she's sending you WID in a
yeah,
text message. What is WID? We all know what it means, but like, why are you talking to me like this? Or
yeah,
GM, she's sending you GM instead of spelling out good morning, like, good morning, honey, good morning, baby, or she's starting to, like, not call you by your name as much. She's giving you a pet name that she calls everybody. So,
yeah,
like, we got to be careful of these things, and the lack of effort. Romans 14:19 says, we put in effort to pursue peace and building. So you doing all the building, you doing all the initiating, you doing all, you the one trying to make a date, you the one trying to get physical with her, you the one that's putting all this effort in, and like, this is not your place as a man to be doing this.
yeah,
What it ends up becoming, ends up coming, someone who's trying to fight a war, uh, to bring it to peace on their own. And we all know one person can't win a war.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's it. And it's this brings me to a question that I know I asked this to our community before,
Mhm.
but it's something that we all need to ask ourselves as men, especially if we consider ourselves to be red pill slash God pill.
Right.
Uh, we have to ask ourselves this question whenever we approach a young lady, especially that we want to take seriously someday. Is this a godly woman, or is she a worldly woman? See, what's the end game with this girl? Is this a girl that I want to take seriously, or is this a girl that I just want to get my kicks with? You know, what's the end game with this girl? See,
Mhm.
and if you're red pill and you're not necessarily so worried about um, um, carrying yourself from a holy aspect. You don't really care so much about uh, being the marriage type or whatnot. You want to be a serial romantic in all essence. Okay, yeah, the worldly woman would be a better goal for you, but you got to understand what comes with that. And the sky's the limit. There's no rules. It's no holds barred with the worldly woman. See,
Right.
but when it comes to a gentleman that considers himself to be God pill, if you're gonna be God pill, then you already know you can't go with the worldly woman. You got to go with the godly woman. And the question is this girl godly or worldly, and by whose
Yeah.
standards? Because if you go by the world's standards of what a godly woman is, I promise you, you're gonna end up with a Jezebel with sheep's clothing. If you go with the world's perspective of what a worldly woman is, well, you're gonna get a Jezebel with Jezebel clothing, you know. But if you go with God's standards, if you look at what this girl is from God's view, um, you can't be lied to, because most people that are lied to about women today, they're really just lying to themselves.
Right.
You see the tattoos. You see she's showing cleavage. You know that you're not the first dude she's ever been with. It's
Not even a second. It's
not
like,
even the second.
like,
Yeah,
man, that's
yeah,
terrible. And
yeah,
like, man,
and
God forbid you have a baby by her. You're not gonna be the first baby daddy nowadays.
yeah, yeah. And for when and brothers, we have to remind ourselves, if we keep pursuing this girl as if she's the godly one, as if she's a godly woman, then there's some point where we're lying to ourselves. See.
Yeah. Yeah, you on point, brother. All the way, man. Like this. It's pretty terrible out here. What you encounter, especially in Western culture, particularly American women. And if we want to go break it down to communities, particularly like the B Dub, I'm not going to
Mhm,
say like the full word, but B Dub, if you know what I mean. It, it's
mhm,
it, it's like what it is like the value that we think we're getting um, out of these relationships is it's nothing. There's because no one falls into traditional roles anymore. Um, Nobody believes in courting. People, you'll have people that just skip the whole process just to get to the point where they can get you to be the first one to say I love you. and,
yeah,
and it's like a badge of honor, for some of these women. It's like a game they're playing. Like, oh, I got them to say I love you, girl. Uh, like that's what I got them to say, girl. They telling their girlfriends, bragging on it and bragging about what they can get you to do,
yeah,
and they're doing nothing. They're doing nothing but like sometimes sitting at home, them with their fingernails and scrolling through social media, going through Facebook somewhere, and and doing a lot of reposting of crap that other feminists are talking about. So
yeah,
what this usually ends up being, it ends up like being you being the one that's clingy in the relationship, versus it's not balanced at all. It's not, she puts you in a feminine frame, from all that effort that you're putting in, and like
mm,
she makes you a beta. She beta
mm,
tizes you,
man,
and we know the worst thing that you can be is a beta.
yeah,
Especially if you started off being an alpha male, being the one who's known for being a leader, being strong. She reduces you down to just bare weakness, and
yeah,
this is just terrible for. And this is not the true natural core of a man.
yeah,
Even though we got some men that was raised a little bit differently, but most men ain't just they're not, their natural core isn't to be beta, isn't to
mhm,
be the weaker vessel. um and so when we come upon these relationships where we pedestalizing women, and we doing all the effort. We become clingy. There's a scripture that says in Matthew 16:24, it says, "Deny yourself."
Mm,
So deny yourself and take up your cross and follow Jesus. So like the reason why you investing so much in this woman and you banking on it because like you're horny. You're horny and you don't think that you can get anything outside of her. So
mm.
you think she's the best thing next to sliced cheese, and really she's like spoiled cheese found in the garbage landfill.
Man, goodness, man,
I
uh man, that's powerful, brother, and that's real. That's it all goes back to female worship.
Yeah.
Um, Me, I'm a always been a comic fan, and I really appreciate the comics for how they always address matters that we all thought were make believe, but it just took a little bit of time to realize someone was planning this stuff. But
Yeah.
man, it for years there's been this female worship in this country and throughout the world, but specifically this country. It's been a
Mhm.
real worship towards the divine feminine, and for all the brothers that want to disagree and say, "Oh no, I don't worship women," well, just research what the diamond ring represents.
Yeah,
Just
that
just
part.
Yeah, just research which Roman god or goddess had the diamond as their favorite jewel. See,
Mhm.
and you'll see very quickly how female worship is embedded in everything. But anyway, getting back to my to the example I was going to use, I'm a big fan of the comics, and for those that have been keeping up, Marvel just came out with a game on I forgot the name of it. It's something like Midnight Suns or something,
Okay.
but there's this scene where Doctor Strange comes out and he starts doing his Latin spells and all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, here we go, and they can't get away from their witchcraft. But
Like that'll be yeah.
man, but lo and behold, out of this ancient coffin comes out of all characters, Lilith comes out.
Mhm.
And for those that don't know who Lilith is, that's one of the number one demonic female entities. They try to attribute Lilith to a couple of characters in the Bible, but I mean this Joker goes back. This heifer goes back. So for lack of better words, this is something that they've been embedding into our culture for so long, and now they're not even hiding it anymore. They're open
Right.
with it. There's no saying how long they've been waiting to bring out that Lilith character. See,
Mhm.
and it's to the point where the men today, they worship women and don't even realize it, don't even think about it.
Mm.
It's to the point where you could walk up to a to someone that got the banger on them. They got the heat on them. Walk up to them. They're tattooed up. You could tell they got it on them, and you could walk up to them and say, "Screw your father." And this guy will check on you. He'll make sure that you had a check on you and see what's going on with you. He'll probably
Yeah.
at most he'll say, "Hey man, you good? You good?" Right? Because he's not trying to go to jail over something that dumb. If
Right.
his mind is somewhere, together. But take the same guy, you walk up to him and you say, "Yo, ma." You don't even have to finish the sentence. Yo, mom, almost. Don't even have to finish. Don't even have to say yo mama before you could get the other M. He pulls the banger out and starts emptying the clip on you.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's female worship. He doesn't regard father, doesn't regard daddy, the one that brought him in this world. He's worshiping mama. He's worshiping the woman. See, and
That's
it's
right.
so deep that we don't even realize this.
Oh my God, man, you have just really opened up the can of worms right there. Like man, and as we get ready to wrap this up, and I know you guys like, come on, man, keep going, keep going. Well, that's why we want you to come back next week. We gonna dive into this some more and really really get you guys on your way. Um, you got to keep sticking around because we're gonna give you some solution to how you can either prevent this or how you can just make a peaceful exit before it get uh, too late. Because like I got a story for you that, you know, I ignored all the signs. I didn't want to recognize that the relationship was over at all. And it led to my demise pretty quickly. So I'm going to share that story, um, coming up in a future episode. So you gotta the only way you can be a part of this is if you subscribe right now. You got to go ahead over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, the God Pill Wisdom podcast. So just simply type in the God Pill Wisdom podcast. It will pop up in the search bar of the YouTube search engine. Hit us with a couple of likes, binge a couple of our previous videos. They're hot like hotcakes. We average about 100 views per episode nowadays, and we really need your help to be a part of that and be one of the first in line to catch the new episode, especially when we roll out this series right here. It's definitely leading up to where we're going to give you the solution and really stop this once and for all. And don't forget to check out Zay Double Edge's YouTube channel too. Um, he got a lot of good stuff. I mean, if you're trying to be a player, you don't you ain't hear from us, but he got some player tips on there. But if you want to like have just a healthy relationship, listen to us. We're not going to like necessarily promote being a player, but I do I for one I low key like believe in polygamy. Um,
Polygamy.
Yeah, I have nothing against polygamy. I have nothing against it. The poly thing, I got nothing against it, man. I got nothing against it.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been in a couple of those myself. So, but that's another story too. But yeah, brother Augustus, he has some good stuff for you too, coming your way in the Wisdom Library.
Yes, sir.
And we might be able to point you directly to content that would serve you right for this very topics. But you gotta catch the next episode, though. That's the only way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brother, any last final closing words?
Man. Yeah, they gotta wait for the next one, brother. We can't give them no more.
No, we can't give you no more. This we got some fire coming your way.
Yeah.
Also follow us on IG at God Pure Wisdom. I'm gonna be dropping little hints to what the episode's gonna be about. So we look forward to hearing from you guys and drop some comments if you like this. Go to Apple Podcasts, drop a review if you really really like it,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
my
all
bad,
free.
brother. My
Mhm.
bad. I did want to say this. I forgot. I meant to say this last week, man. To those that know who this brother is, man, rest in peace to Sinful the P, man.
Yeah,
Sinful
rest
the
in peace.
P. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, we lost a real one right there, man. I meant to say that last week, but
yeah.
yeah, man. Just wanted to give my condolences out to his family and everything, man. Keeping them lifted up in prayer, man. That was a tough one right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out Sinful to Pete, indeed, man, and his family. Thanks for bringing that up. Because I
Yeah,
did, we did forget to mention it last week. Uh,
yeah.
so that's all we got for you guys. We're gonna let the outro video roll and give you some additional directions, and we will catch you on the next one. So you gotta be there if you want more of this good stuff.